From Carolla One Studios in Glendale, California, this is the Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, Greg Fitzsimmons. With Gina Grad on news, Bald Brian on sound effects, Dave Damashek's here for good sports, and we'll speak to Dallas Salon owner Shelley Luther. And now, he wants Dukes of Hazzard reruns banned, not because of the Confederate flag, just because the show sucks. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but to get on. Mandate. Get it on. And thanks for sharing this pod as we go toward year 12. What the hell is going on? Good day, Gina Grad.
Good day to you.
Handball, Brian.
Quiet.
All right. So Fitz Dog's going to come in and I think he's coming in. Yeah, he's coming in. He always brings it. So I love the comedy that comes from that man. Shelley Luther will speak to in a couple of few. She was the one who owns that salon out somewhere near Dallas. We'll talk to her about how her business is going. And a couple of things. First, my audio book, and my book is coming out this coming Tuesday.
Nice.
And
Pretty sweet.
thank you. It's much in the vein of In 50 Years We'll All Be Chicks. It's just everything I want to say, completely unfiltered.
So a return to form for the Ace Man?
A return to form for the Ace Man. And, as I think about it, I really think about this whole fucking cancel culture and all these fucking hypocrite pussies out there who cry about McCarthyism. Oh, they never stop fucking crying about McCarthyism, and then they want everyone else out of their fucking job as soon as they disagree with the fucking hypocrites. The celebrities are the worst. They're just the worst. But I just sort of realize I don't think my career is not going to just move forward. There shall be no more. There's going to be no Sundance. There'll be no HBOs. There'll be no. I don't think there's going to be a lot for me in the future. I'm just going to have to write.
There's a lot of festivals you can get rejected from.
That's true.
Yeah, you applied to Cannes. Cannes Film Festival.
Palm Door.
I just realized I'm going to have to just say what I'm going to say. First things first, pussies. I'm not altering what I'm saying. I'm never going to do that. Why the fuck would you be a comedian and alter what you're saying because a fucking woke mob is going to go after you? But they're going after everybody. And that's the deal. You disagree with them, they go after you, and then they try to remove you from your livelihood, which is so... First things first. If folks you disagree with are just bigoted and wrong and spinning yarns and liars, then leave them alone and let them just go off into the abyss. Who are they going to affect?
Sure.
If you're the truth tellers and you're the righteous ones, then everyone will gravitate toward you. That's how it'll work. So you can let the idiots say what they want and then let them be wrong. How about that? No. It's a new world order. Whether you're talking politics or whether you're a doctor, say we won't tolerate people that disagree with whatever it is we've cooked up. By the way, this week, it's whatever you cooked up this week. I can't change that fucking fast. I'll get fucking whiplash. Now, I get it. There's a lot of people that have to do it. You have to do it. Look, Drew Brees has to say what Drew Brees has to say. If you're a coach in the NFL, I get it. You have to suck up to these fucking assholes, otherwise you'll be shit canned. Understand it. I understand it perfectly. You have a family. You have a livelihood. They will remove you from your way of making a living. I get it. But I have F me money. Remember, FM money.
Big difference.
FM is better than F you money. And I have F me money. So I'm fine. I have my dignity. I will say what I have to say. I'm not going to fucking kowtow and cut a bunch of fucking videos and do all the shit you pussies are doing because you're scared.
Right.
You're scared for your job. Yes, sir.
Well, to further the point, they muddy the waters, but they blur the lines between actual like hate speech, like people who are inciting whatever violence or truly hateful, and like jokes or an opinion you don't agree with. You know what I mean? You blur the line with every like fall in line with the group thing, fall in line with the way you should be thinking.
God damn! I was just watching this video that Aaron Paul sort of captained, but it was a bunch of celebrities. I didn't know all the celebrities. I'm getting a little off track, but
I gotta up your TMZ, man.
one.
Did they sing Imagine again?
No, they gave a thing about
It's worse, Gina.
it's a Black Lives Matter thing, but it's like I think one of them, maybe it's Stanley Tucci, is saying, "I'll no longer tolerate jokes." It's like, okay, you won't tolerate jokes?
So no more Coen Brothers films for you?
Right. Sarah Paulson and Aaron Paul and Keisha and Bethany Joy Lentz, Kristen Bell, Justin Theroux, Deborah Messing, Mark Duplass, Bryce Dallas Howard, Julianne Moore, Piper Perabo. That is a great name for Dave Damashek to say. Piper Perabo. It's too bad she doesn't play in the NHL. Stanley Tucci, Ilana Glazer, and Allie Raceman. All right. So we'll listen to this sack of blowhard wind coming from these idiots.
I take responsibility.
I take responsibility.
I take responsibility.
I take responsibility for every unchecked moment.
For every time it was easier to ignore than to call it out for what it was.
Every not so funny joke.
The acting is good. I got to give them that.
Every unfair
they're very-
stereotype.
Believable.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Every blatant injustice, no matter how big or small.
Every time I remained silent.
Every time I explained away police brutality.
Hold on a
Or
second.
turned a blind eye.
How many times do you think Bryce Dallas Howard explained away police brutality?
I saw her in that Rodney King video yelling nothing to see here. She was,
Please disperse.
Oh boy.
but Bryce Howard is the whitest person. These are some of the whitest people on the planet. All right, here we go. Sorry.
I take responsibility. Black people are being slaughtered in the streets, killed in their own homes. These are our brothers and sisters.
Our friends, our family. We are done watching them die. We are no longer bystanders. We will not be idle. Enough is enough.
I will no longer allow an unchecked moment. I will no longer allow racist, hurtful words, jokes, stereotypes.
Jokes.
No matter how
Hold on a
big
second.
or small.
Hold on. He won't allow it? How does that work then? We have to run it up that douchebag's flagpole before we're cleared to do a fucking joke on stage? You fucking sack of sanctimonious shit. How come I didn't hear from any of you people 10 minutes ago? If this is something you're so deeply involved with and has such great concern.
Well, in their defense, they weren't sent these scripts 10 minutes ago because they're all reading off of something. So these aren't their words.
They haven't memorized the sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're Piper Perabo, how thrilled are you that you were asked to participate?
I know. Well, she's not going to allow this. So ahead. Sorry. Keep going, Stanley.
In my presence.
I will not turn a blind eye. Going for a jog should not be a death sentence. Sleeping in your own home should not be a death sentence.
Playing video games with your nephew should not be a death sentence.
Shopping in a store should not be a death sentence.
Hold on. I disagree. I disagree. I want to debate these people.
I think this is well intentioned, but man, these are beyond platitudes.
Who's this guy?
These guys,
Justin Theroux, how dare you?
they've been bathed in. They cook. Here's what's going on. Celebrities used to be able to leave the house. Now they're just stewing in their own douche brew, and it's coming. They're on fucking creatine now because they have not been in the real world for 3 months, and they've been left alone with their douche. Sorry.
Does that explain why they're just jumping to minds? It's not a fully formed theory. The Tom Cruises and the Barbara Streisands and these ultra celebrities of the world who really do sequester themselves kind of in their own world, in their own homes. I don't imagine they go out for groceries quite so often. Like, is that why they're a little bit nuts?
I think that, yes, I think you need to interact with the world. And as I said, it's an extension of my sort of blue collar theory, which is you must go put your hands on something and go in the garage and put wood together, fix a coffee mug, or glue the handle back on. You know, the more of that you can do, the saner you'll be. So obviously, Mariah Carey probably doesn't do a lot of DIY projects around the house, and thus you get and doesn't make a lot of Home Depot runs or doesn't run over to the Whole Foods and grab a bushel of this.
That's what I'm saying. How often does Mariah Carey leave our compound?
Right. So yes, this is what we got now. We have supercharged douchebaggery because no one's left the house in 3 months. All right, keep playing it.
Business as usual should not be life-threatening. I stand against hate.
I stand against hate.
I stand against hate.
I disagree.
I
disagree.
I will
It's a
stand
bold
against
stance.
hate in love.
Controversial.
I will make my presence known.
And killer cops must be prosecuted. They are murderers.
Yeah, Mr. White.
We can turn the tide. It is time to take responsibility. Call out hate. Step up and take action.
You know what celebrities are like? Celebrities are like celebrities are like if you gave a kid a flashlight with no batteries and he said, it's a magical flashlight. It's magical. And you go, yeah, but it doesn't do it. Oh, no, you have power. That person can see you across the street. Go ahead and flash it at them. And then they'd flash it and they go, oh, yeah, I think he can see me. Yeah, it's magical. It's magical. They have a magic wand with no fucking batteries in it, but they think it has some sort of mythical, magical powers, and they just keep pointing it at people going, do my bidding and listen to me. Nobody listens to you idiots anymore. They used to have a little bit of juice. Like it used to be you could make a statement. It used to be, if... I'm trying to think. You get,
when Yul Brynner told you not to smoke, you listened.
Right. And... maybe if you got an Indian to accept your Academy Award.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
in the name of the Navajo Nation.
That's
you
right.
You got a little bit of that. It's gone now. There's too many celebrities. First off, you do a celebrity compilation and there's 11 celebrities and most people don't recognize 7 of them. Mm-hmm. You're not a celebrity anymore. If you took this video and showed it to the average American, if you just found an average American, and there may be, 14 celebrities in this. If you showed it to the average human being living on this planet, and you said first and last name for 14 of these celebrities, it is 14?
It is 14, yeah. Nice.
Huh. Why was I such a shitty student? I didn't count. I just sort of give an estimate. All right, there's 14 celebrities. If you said to the average American, how many of these celebrities can you name? And by the way, you got to think average American. I know we always think, well, that farmer in Nebraska, he's not going to be able. Think about L.A. Think about when you just walk around L.A. and you see the folks who drive the ice cream trucks and sell the food on the street.
Your mom's friends.
Yeah.
What in addition to what you're saying, like it's the average person who probably might not know 7 out of 14.
I think they couldn't name. I think it'd be more like 3. I think you'd get a lot of, that's the guy from the thing.
I work industry adjacent, and I couldn't name Justin Theroux.
Yeah, two of the girls. I think that's the 3rd and 4th girl. I had no idea who they were.
Max Spada. Why don't you show that thing to Matt and Gary and Kaylin and see if they can see how many they can name.
Kaylin and I got the list together.
No.
Oh, okay.
Right, so you should go to the other shop.
Bring your phone down to the Home Depot.
Like I said, go to the other shop.
Ask Sean and Jose. I don't think Sean and Jose. What would be the over/under on Sean and Jose who are at? I was literally at the other shop having a very passionate conversation with Sean about clear coating, clear coating a part that he just made for me, clear coating a tail for a Dawson 510. Ask Jose and Sean just for fun.
I'm setting the over under 3.5. Yeah, 3.5 is the over under
there to see if Sean and Jose know any of this.
Okay,
and I think I know which celebrities they'll know.
They should be allowed to pause it. I don't think it'll help them that much, but the quickness of it might trip them up.
Yeah, take your time. And by the way, tell them to fucking punch out before that.
Of course.
It'll be that dude from Breaking Bad, that old chick from Boogie Nights, and the one that sounds like the princess from Frozen. Mm-hmm. It'll be those will be the answers.
Yeah, exactly.
Show them both and film them. and we'll see if we can figure it out. All right. Sorry for the audible.
Dude walking.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, and
shop walking.
Take a shot of that bitch and tail Sean made for the 510 as well.
Okay.
Anyway. All right. Let's see. I also was reading a little last night about Hattie McDaniel, who, because all the Gone with the Wind cancellation stuff and all that stuff, and I thought she had an interesting life. And I thought, as I realized a lot of people don't know that much about her, and maybe they should know more about her. Weird little tidbits, like I think died in Woodland Hills, California.
Born in Wichita, Kansas.
Right.
Oh, she's one of my people. I didn't even know that.
So I told Dawson, just pull that wiki and let's just take a look at it. And it's
IMDb.
Oh, sorry, IMDb. Sorry.
So Gone with the Wind's at a 6.5.
So here's her bio. After working as early as the 1910s as a band vocalist, Hattie McDaniel debuted as a maid in The Golden West in 1932. Her maid mammy characters became steadily more assertive, showing up in the first Judge Priest in 1934 and becoming pronounced in Alice Adams in 1935.
Oh, hold on one second. If you think about Gone with the Wind, you go, well, we gotta pull that down because it's stereotypes and racial, blah, blah, blah. If you watch that movie, she was in charge. Like, she was large and in charge. She was yelling at the people that owned the place, like, hey, Miss So-and-so, you're not going out there without your overcoat on, or you're not going to dress that way in front of those women, in front of those men. Like, she was...
It was probably a pretty progressive depiction for 1939.
She did a lot of hash settling to the folks that basically owned the plantation they lived on. She wasn't She wasn't a wallflower. Yeah, she was telling them what they could do and what they couldn't do, and what they. If you watch that movie, I hadn't thought about it, but I saw a scene where there's a scene, Max Barber, where like she's yelling out the window, like, "Don't you be going out there without your coat on? You come back in it." Like, she's in charge. Anyway, go ahead.
So Chris says you want me to just name some movies she was in.
Nah, I don't. I said that?
You said you should go through her IMDb, and she's been in some interesting titles, so that's why.
I said interesting titles?
Well, yeah.
No, I said go through her IMDb. She's had an interesting life.
Oh, okay. My bad.
All right. Good.
So I'll continue.
You can do whatever you think's interesting. I just thought her life was interesting. I don't know what movie she's been in.
In 1938, she's in a movie called The Mad Miss Manton, where she actually tells off her socialite employer, Barbara Stanwyck, and her snooty friends.
Oh, I think that was kind of her gig. Like, don't take no gruff. Well, it got carried on. Like, if you think about, God, I'm trying to think. There's been a lot of sitcoms that had like a maid that took no shit. Was always like in the what's his name? George, moving on up. Sorry. Trying to think of my black segment. The Jeffersons, their maid settled George's hash all the time. She may have started it.
Olga.
That's
she
right.
She did start it, and that movie, The Mad Miss Manton, was basically that extended into the greatest role of her career, Mammy in Gone with the Wind, for which she won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. She did have to go to a segregated ceremony and sit in the back.
Jesus.
But here she is in Gone with the Wind, in a number of ways, superior to most of the white folk surrounding her. And then it says that from that point, her roles unfortunately descended. But the list she was in 8 different movies in 1932.
Wow.
Yeah, she was prolific.
3 movies in 33.
She was married 3 times, I think.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. At least 10 movies in 1934.
3 times, fool. Damn.
10 movies in what year?
In 1934, and at least 10 in 1935.
She must have had a contract with.
Yeah, she was
like Paramount or something.
Studio players.
Yeah.
Same thing for 37.
That's a porn star
ton of movies.
Rate
Seriously.
of movies you're in 1 year.
Yeah.
And then it really doesn't slow down. She was in movies up until it was a TV series in 1952, but 22 years of solid work.
Did married 4 times. That's some crazy. Whoa. Had a husband shot and killed, I think. Had one die like almost immediately.
2 of them died.
2 of them died pretty close to them getting married. Oh, she had this horrible thing where she had a miscarriage, or she thought she was pregnant and she wasn't pregnant. As I'm combing through my memory, she was like very upset that she wasn't able to have kids, and then she had a stroke, I think, and then breast cancer, and then eventually expired in Woodland Hills, California in 59, was it?
No, 40. Oh, hold on. Maybe it was 59. Yeah.
Maybe 52. I was looking at something.
52 at age 59.
Oh, 52 at age 59 in 1952. Anything else on there, Dawson?
She's got 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Really?
Oh, how about that?
One. Let's see.
By the way,
there's all kinds of interesting stuff here. I'm still scanning.
If you're going to smash a star, do Trump's in this particular climate. Stay away from Hattie's. But just in this particular moment in time. Yeah, let it breathe. Let it breathe. 2 stars on the wall.
What would the other one be for?
Radio, broadcasting. Remember, she was a band
radio player.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah.
All right, Dawson. Anything else, or are we good?
I think we're good, but I'll let you know. I'm kind of scanning through it.
Okay, as I found her life to be interesting, and I realized there's too much information, there's too many people, and we never really stop and take a look at them. But at some point, they were live, they were here, they were vibrant. You know, I always kind of think about it in terms of when you see that old black and white World War II footage. I always say it was in color for them.
Have you seen They Schnock Rolled, the restored World War I documentary from Peter Jackson?
Yeah, I have seen that. Yeah,
it's awesome. To your point, like when you see it in color, you're like, holy shit, there's like young guys.
Yeah, 19-year-old dudes out there. All right, let's see. Shelley Luther, the salon owner who opened up early outside of Dallas, I think. We can ask her where's on with us. Hi, Shelley.
She's on mute.
Hello, there we go.
Hey, Shelley.
How's that?
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm well. I'm a fan of yours. Of course, I heard your story, and I like the way you comported yourself in front of the judge and in front of the very judgmental ladies of The View.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah,
thank you.
It saddens me that the Yentas from The View, who are all women who never stop yapping about strong women out there doing their thing, and you being a strong woman, small business owner, and I'm guessing employ mostly women as well, why they think it's important to teach you a lesson. That's scary to me. But either way, I wish we lived in a world where those people supported you a little more.
Well, what's a little bit crazy is the week before they did support me, they were saying how wrong the judge was and all of these things. And when they called to, talk, they, send their person to call and talk to me before the show, and nothing that we covered, of course, was brought up in the show, and they completely attacked me.
I don't know.
Hollywood, baby.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's probably not a good environment or climate for this. But as I was watching you, I found you very attractive and very composed. And I thought, this person did some acting, some modeling. There's something in your past. I don't know how you got so good in front of the camera.
My boyfriend and I, we have a band. And so I've been singing.
Do you have to bring him up every 10 minutes?
Boyfriend.
I mean, we have a band. And so I've been, I was a school teacher before this. So talking in front of high school kids is probably the scariest audience you could find besides liberals, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I remember you from the Van Halen video. No, I just, look, it kind of explains things. Like you were used to speaking in front of a group or being on stage or whatever that was. There was you had a composure that most people seem to lack when they put the camera on you. And it struck me that must be something in your background. So
speaking of background, what did you teach, Shelley? What was your high school?
Spanish, high school Spanish.
Okay.
Oh.
See,
that's what my degree is in. I know that's most people's reaction. Oh,
well, we were just talking about that on yesterday's show on immersion classes and that sort of thing.
Yes, my class was full immersion, so we didn't have textbooks and we spoke Spanish the whole time. And I taught Spanish 1 and 2.
All right.
So the salon, the ladies mostly that you employ. How many? I know you don't employ them. They lease a chair. They rent a chair. My sister has a salon, which, by the way, my sister's salon out of business. She folded. She's in L.A. So
that makes me sad.
Yeah, we should. It's important to punish small business owners here until they kiss the ring. But my sister's salon in Topanga Canyon, California, out here, she quit. She pulled the plug. She's under. She also paid the last 2 months' rent. Also, like she continued to pay rent, and God bless her. She's like, I had a deal with the person who owns the building, and this isn't their fault. And she paid the rent. They pulled the plug. Yes.
I could have had my tenants pay rent, but on March 22nd, when we were shut down, I told them to stop paying rent. And this past Friday was actually the first day they started paying rent again because I wanted them to get back on their feet.
How many chairs do you have at the salon?
We have about 25. I have about 20 of them filled right now.
And is it mostly ladies?
We have 2 gentlemen.
And all right.
Yes.
I'll say, I think we're covered with mostly ladies. And is it right? I was speculating that, many women are minorities who are involved with that business, salon business and pedicures and manicures, at least from what I've gathered here living in Southern California in the barbershops I go to, but you tell me.
Well, I'll tell you that one of the gentlemen that I just brought on is white, and I'm the only other white person in our salon.
God. Everyone tells me they stop profiling, Adam. Stop profiling. It's like I was yelling about this shit when I was yelling at the Yentas from The View 2 weeks ago, which is, I bet it's mostly women, and I bet it's mostly minority women who want to go back to work. So why are you settling this chick's hash when she's trying to make a safe space that people can go back, earn money, feed their family, and all that? So you and the dude are the only you're the only white people in that place.
Correct. We have a lot of people that are, obviously English is their second language and have a very strong accent, but our salon represents about 8 or 9 different countries.
Wow.
So I think it's easier to learn a craft or a trade than try to go to college. And if English is your second language, that makes it tough. And so if you learn a trade, I think that might be why there's a lot of minorities that come over and do that.
How was the business reopening for you? In terms of the actual foot traffic, were people lining up? Was it slow at the beginning? How did it work?
No, it was crazy. The press was crazy. The people lined up, crazy amounts, people flying from all over the United States coming in. Not just because they needed a haircut, just because they wanted to show support.
Wow.
You say it was crazy. Were how many people were in the salon at any one time, like for business, obviously? And would that be more or less than like normal operations?
Well, it's fewer than normal operations because I only had I have a nail tech in there too. Mm-hmm. And I had 2 hairstylists and 1 nail tech that were not afraid to come back out of the 20. So we only had those 3 ladies working until we were able to officially open up. And so we didn't have people waiting inside. I set up chairs 6 feet apart outside. and they were brought in one at a time as a stylist was ready.
So you weren't thumbing your nose at the whole idea of, safety precautions. Quite the opposite. You're saying, I know how to do this. I can do it safely. What's the holdup?
Right. Well, I feel like I'm fairly intelligent, and when the CDC speaks, I can understand, and I understand how people can be scared too. So we took, not only do hairstylists have several hours of sanitation and hygiene training, we went several measures on top of that, as far as everybody had to wear a mask when they came in. Nobody was sitting around inside, no drink stations, no magazines. I added hand sanitizer stations all over the station, all over there. There's nothing we could have done more. It was definitely better protected than Walmart or Lowe's, where everybody was rubbed up on each other.
How did it end up with the court? We all heard the blowhard judge sanctimoniously dress you down and basically announce that you needed to apologize to the community. Otherwise, he was going to put you in jail for a week, which is people take a look at these little moments in time and understand there's a little bit of a jumping of the shark as a fucking nation. Please. I've told everyone the day the barbed wire went up around the freeway signs in L.A., everyone who lived in L.A. should have been horrified that they live in that kind of piece of shit city. And when judges start dressing down small business owners and demand that they apologize, otherwise they're going to incarcerate them, that's a little bit of a moment in time to look at. I love that you held your ground, but I don't know how it ultimately turned out. What happened from that point on?
Well, basically, I served, let me just back it up. They put me in the jail right away. As everyone saw, he did not even let me leave before he even made his decision. So I was basically held captive in the courtroom before I was even found guilty of anything, which is crazy to me. And then he found me guilty. I was arrested, fingerprinted right away. They put my name in the system incorrectly. So it was hard for my boyfriend to find me or,
Oh, with the boyfriend talk, the nonstop.
She always finds an opportunity.
You're like a broken record with that dude.
Sorry. But not just that, they did not give me a phone call. So I had my 16-year-old daughter at home, and last she knew I was going to court. And I would have not shown up and no one would have known, she'd just been like, where's my mom? Because they did not even let me call her the day I was put in jail. I stayed in there 2 days. And basically what happened is...
You were 2 days in jail.
48 hours exactly.
Can I say this?
Yeah.
The fact that this same judge, I'm sure, or many people who think like him, have empathy for looters, but have vitriol for people like you, that is another very scary moment in this nation's history. The notion that you're the problem and that looters aren't, or we got to be lenient with this group and double down on that group. That is a scary, that's very scary to this podcaster. But sorry, 48 hours in jail.
Yes. And then my attorney filed a writ of habeas corpus with the Supreme Court, and they freed me from the jail after 48 hours. But that was just temporary because I could still serve the other 5 days. It's in the Supreme Court's hands right now. So within the next couple of weeks, I could actually go back and serve the other 5 if they decide that.
When do you get an answer?
I don't know. That's the magic question. It's within probably like 2 to 3 weeks.
But for you, you've returned to running your business. Your ladies have returned, or many of them, to their stations, and you're able to carry on. And at some point, when they tell you, I hope you come back on this show and tell us. I'd be disappointed and surprised if they pulled you away from your salon. At this point, things are open for other salons where you are, right?
All salons. Actually, what happened was Governor Greg Abbott was supposed to open the salons May 18th. And was it May 18th? He opened salons 10 days earlier than what he said he was going to do because of probably what happened to me and the things that were going on. We were in contact with his office. And he also took out of the punishment jail time. So he made it kind of retroactive that you can't put people in jail for going against an ordinance.
Then why would you go back to jail for 5 days? That seems completely insane.
Because that judge put me in jail for contempt of court.
Yeah.
All
For
right.
violating the actual ordinance.
Yeah.
And he's the only one, or the Supreme Court, that can say no. My attorney has already tried to get him recused from my case, and he refused to.
Wow, man, when you're right, you're right. Got to stand your ground. Trying to punish business owners. See, here's what I don't like about how this all it all smacks of you disobeyed me. You disobeyed Garcetti. You disobeyed Gavin Newsom. You disobeyed this judge. Like, I'm in charge. A lot of this feels kind of punitive. Like, you're not doing what I'm telling you to do. And it's like, I'm not doing it because that's what this fucking country was built on, you idiots, you power drunk assholes. It's sad.
What's even crazier is he said, and I don't know if you noticed in the live stream, he said there is a proper way to protest. You get an attorney and you go through the court system. And I just find that ironic in these times, how he was telling me there's a proper way to protest.
It involves an attorney, of course.
And we haven't heard from him, with all this going on. He's been, in the dark, not saying a word.
Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't want to put his foot in his mouth, which he would, because he's a hypocrite. But also, and this took place how long? See, the other thing where you should just walk away, and thank God the Supreme Court is busy talking about you, and your attorney is busy filing things, and it's all one big waste of time and effort and money. But what you did is now the law. You just did it 2 weeks before it became the law, right? Or 10 days, or I don't know how long.
The ordinance isn't a law, so that's the whole argument. It can't be. You can't make an ordinance that takes over the United States Constitution, the Bill of Rights. That's the law. And so when they make these ordinances, to me, it's a suggestion because you can't take away my rights.
And I shouldn't have said the law, but what I was trying to do is the timeline, which is the governor in your state of Texas said, okay, salons may reopen 10 days before the 18th or whatever the math was on that. What I'm saying is what you were doing is what everyone is doing. You were just a couple weeks early. Is that correct?
I was about almost a month early, 3 weeks early.
3 weeks
but
early.
Yeah, I was put in jail on a Wednesday and salons opened Friday.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, boy.
All right, let's prioritize as a nation, shall we? Shelley, you guys play in a band. What do you cover songs? You do original stuff?
No, we just do top 40 covers for like corporate events and weddings and stuff like that. Obviously, that's been shut down too.
Oh, yeah, sure. Dangerous, of course. Shelley Luther, the charity is called CourageToStand.com, and the salon is A La Mode. It's located in Dallas. And Shelley, come back with us and tell us when they get back to you, when the court gets back to you on whatever the outcome is.
I sure will. I would love to.
Thanks, Shelley. And also, you cut Ted Cruz's hair.
What's the difference?
Yeah, it's really.
Adam's the worst salon assistant. Good news, Shelley. Tom Cruise is coming in today. You're going to cut his hair. She's like, oh, boy.
Ted Cruz.
I didn't cut it. Yeah, I'm not a hairstylist. So, one of my ladies was able to cut his hair.
He's got a podcast out, and he talks about, it's called The Verdict with Ted Cruz. 2020, he'll talk about the impeachment, coronavirus, race riots, whatever else is out there. And get it right from the source. Senator Ted Cruz and Michael Knowles as well get together in D.C. for the first time in months. The Verdict with Ted Cruz topped the podcast charts earlier this year. And it's an inside look at the impeachment hearings, and or they gave an inside look at the impeachment hearings, and now they're back, everyone. So 2020 is getting crazier. You can go behind the scenes in Washington and see what's really happening. And maybe he'll talk about his haircut and beard trim a little bit. Check out The Verdict with Ted Cruz. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts and wherever you listen. Again, that's The Verdict with Ted Cruz. Subscribe today. The Verdict with Ted Cruz. Hey, Shelley, Godspeed, man. It gives me hope when I hear stories like your own. So thank you for joining us. And again, we'll talk to you when you get the verdict.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Shelley Luther, everyone. We got two more Hattie McDaniel facts that Dawson figured out.
I did kind of make a big deal about the fact that she worked solid for 22 years in Hollywood. And it says here that there is evidence that she earned an excellent income as an actress. But when she died in 1959...
Oh, this is the part that pissed me off.
Her entire estate was worth less than $10,000.
Oh.
And then the IRS came in and said that she owed $11,000 in taxes, and they took everything, including her Oscar.
Oh, my God. If you can't pawn an Oscar, you're not allowed to repo an Oscar.
Go ahead.
The Oscar ended up at Howard University. This was the kind of stuff I was talking about when I was reading this thing last night. It ended up she wanted it displayed at like Howard University, and I think it ended up there, and now it's missing.
No one knows where it is. It was possibly thrown in a river during some civil unrest in the 1960s. Howard University came back and said that they don't even have any paperwork that said they ever received it.
By the way, throwing all statues in rivers is not a good idea, Black Lives Matter. Sometimes you get your own, you know?
She also wanted, she asked in her will that she be buried in Hollywood Cemetery. And they said, fuck you.
What?
No, can't be buried here. You're black.
It wasn't because of her size.
No.
Are you look into that?
Can't afford a double lot.
We can get a double lot.
But yet Gina supports them by going there and watching her family time movies.
Hollywood forever, huh?
Right. That's interesting because what I said the other day was either her tombstone or a statue. Something is erected to her. And it's specifically like Hattie McDaniel, noted actor, blah, blah, blah. So I guess that was their apology.
No, it's a Hattie McDaniel keep out sign.
Right. I didn't realize. I didn't read the bottom of the sign. But that's displayed very prominently. So somebody's got egg on their face.
In 1999, the new owner of the Hollywood Cemetery renamed it Hollywood Forever Cemetery and offered to have her reburied there. So we'll dig her up and put her back in. But her family, thankfully, did not want to disturb her remains and declined the offer.
Be a good Matt Damon movie. We bought a cemetery. I love
the first one wasn't good.
I love the part where she died with $10,000 to her name, and the IRS said we need 11.
Yeah,
they're like Spinal Tap. This one goes to 11, and then we'll take the Oscar. Some of the one of the things that's really never really talked about, but I know it from like the fight game. Like they'll have these guys, we talk about the Klan all the time, but what about the government? You know what I mean? A lot of these black boxers from a million years ago, Joe Louis and Sugar. Oh God, the first Sugar Ray
Robinson,
stuff like that. Joe Louis was like in the military, did like USO shows, like volunteer. He owed the IRS money, and he had to keep fighting to pay off the IRS. So these guys that were these great champions in their 20s and 30s are now fighting tomato cans in their 40s and 50s because they need a small purse because they owe the government money. It's sad. All right, let's see. I have an unprepared. Let's see. We have an audiobook clip that Dawson took a shine to. It's only 51 seconds long. So I want to play that clip if you have it, Dawson. I don't even remember which one it is. It's Pledge.
Yeah, this is from the chapter where you break down all the new commercials and all the old commercials. And this one made me spit out my coffee. It's pretty funny.
Then there were Pledge commercials featuring the mother-in-law showing up unexpectedly. She'd pull out a white glove and drag her finger along the casing of the door frame and shame the wife for the amount of dust that was on it. Then she'd pull an aerosol can of Pledge out of her purse and start dusting. We don't have that anymore. When I was 10, I thought, oh, this is what I have to look forward to. This is what marriage is. Bullshit. If I ever found a can of Pledge in Lynette's purse, I would have to call Dr. Drew because I'd think she was huffing it. That would be the only possible explanation. I'd be like, Drew, Lynette's got a problem. Get the crew. We're having an intervention. She's huffing and dust. I should have known. She farted the other day, and it smelled like lemon. Dawson laugh.
Dawson's so happy.
So that'll be out. The audiobook's about 6.5 hours, and you can pre-order that because it's all coming out on Tuesday. Also, let's see.
Lots of great bonus stuff in the audiobook as well.
Oh, yeah.
There was this one part where we were getting the title of a chapter correct, and you were working it out as you were saying it. And it was, Don't Get Fresh, Men. And I said, yeah, because of freshmen. And you go, oh, I know, Dawson. I wrote it. And so we left stuff like that in. The book is littered with it. It's beautiful.
That's great.
So, I know this sounds convenient, but get the book, but also get the audiobook because, as per usual, the stuff changes from the book to the audiobook. All right, should we do a little Eat Your Feelings before Fitzdog comes in here?
Let's do it.
Gina Grad's Eat Your Feelings, brought to you by Home Chef.
She could not stop eating the sugar and the grains. Then our friend Benny helped her lose the weight she gained. Now she's cooking healthy meals at night, and ever since then her clothes aren't as tight. It's time for Eat Your Feelings. Do some healthy eating with Gina's recipes.
All right, so we have a little 4.5-year-old in the house, and he is now a little sous chef for me. He loves cooking. If he hears me rattling any pots and pans, he comes running. He says, where are the ingredients? Let me help. I taught him how to peel carrots and cucumbers. He loves it. And so Home Chef is really, really helping foster his love for cooking. And I really, truly am grateful for that. And we made two dinners because we're a hungry family. So we did the delicious, I'm going to show you the picture, the ground pork lettuce cups, which were phenomenal and fresh and really fun for the little one to make.
This bit sucks now.
I know.
I know, you poor thing.
It just shows pictures of the food. I'm salivating all over my.
And then the butter cracker chicken and roasted carrots. And, literally it's butter, like butter crackers. He gets to crunch them up and, hit them in the Ziploc bag, and then you sprinkle them over the chicken. And he hates, with a capital H, hates carrots. You wave a carrot in front of him, he will scream and run away. Suddenly, with Home Chef, now he's a fan of carrots. Apparently, we just didn't know he didn't like them raw. He likes them cooked.
By the way,
butter and pecans.
That adage of giving people motivation by putting the carrot at the end of the stick shall not work for this lad. He's not going to get. He's not going to get that at all.
Outdated reference.
I know.
I'm gonna sort of highlight the ground pork lettuce cups because this is something that I don't know anyone who wouldn't love this. We've all had some variation on it. It's essentially, American style tacos, if you want to call them. It's almost like, it was very simple: ground pork, ranch, tomato, cucumber. That was him eating his he was putting a carrot and a pecan in his lettuce cups because he really, really liked them.
Hey, I don't sleep on ground pork. I feel like we always talk about ground beef and we always talk about ground turkey, but we don't talk enough about ground pork.
Yeah, that was all Home Chef's doing. That's what they sent. And they always give you to, I'm just looking at this now because I'm really into them. I'm really, really loving their offerings. You can do a customized instruction. So they say, if you don't want to use ground pork, here's how you'd use everything else. No, we did exactly what they said. You make the demi-glaze, you add that, and we just had like a smorgasbord dinner. It's, the fun kind where there's a bowl of the tomatoes, a bowl of pork, a bowl of cucumbers, and you make your own lettuce tacos. Everybody loved it. Adults loved it. The kid loved it. It really, truly is inspiring his love of cooking, which to me is really so important. And then for second dinner, we also put on the table the crushed butter cracker chicken. Andy and I did the pork panko on ours and gave him a little bit of the butter chicken and roasted carrots in like a butter white wine sauce. And he demanded parsley. This is not my doing. We have begged, we have screamed, we have bribed, we have blackmailed. All it took was something with a really beautiful picture on the front, and he ate everything, and we enjoyed it. And I'm really, truly so enthusiastic about this product, and we love it.
Olga did me the chimichurri butter with the steak and the asparagus the other day.
You're not going to go
delectable. All right, outro. Dawson, who's still reading about Hattie McDaniel.
Get your feelings. Do some healthy eating with Gina's recipe.
Brought to you by Home Chef.
All right, you guys can go to homechef.com/Adam and get in on this stuff. $30 off. Go to homechef.com/Adam for $30 off. Fresh, good, and those lettuce cup/tacos with the
delicious
ground pork look really good. I am going to be, let's see, where am I going to be this weekend? At Zanies in Nashville. And we'll do a couple of live podcasts there, and I'm doing some stand-up there. Too, I'll do stand-up and I'll do Unprepared as well. I also am doing Unprepared from quarantine, and that is coming up this Monday, June 15th, 7 p.m. Pacific. You can register at SiriusXM.com/Adam Carolla. The last one I did from my living room, and I did one was giraffe?
Yeah, the word was giraffe.
I never thought about a giraffe before.
You had a lot of thoughts.
I had a lot of thoughts. All right, we'll play you Unprepared from my house in quarantine from last time. I just tell Max Zapata, find one you like, and we'll play it. This one's giraffe.
Carrie Smith writes, giraffe.
Giraffe? I like a giraffe. They're weird. They lick people, evidently. They have long tongues. I don't know. Should we be surprised? Like, people go, you ever see this giraffe tongue is so long? You're surprised it has a 9-inch tongue? Its fucking neck is 13 feet. You know? I'm surprised that their tongue isn't longer. That's what I'm saying. You do understand, like, if you took a giraffe's head and you just put it on my dog, then I would be surprised they had a long tongue. But considering their head is sitting on top of essentially an extension ladder of a neck, a 12-foot neck, then no, I'm not surprised that it has a long tongue. And as far as licking everything, that's what they do. My dog licks everything. Giraffes lick everything. Wasn't there that zoo? Here's how you can tell. Here's how I can tell whether I want to hang with you or not. There was a zoo, I don't know if it was in Russia or where it was, a few months ago. There's like a sick giraffe. They slaughtered it and they fed it to the lions. I love all the pussies who get their panties in a bunch. Like, oh, they fed it to the lions. What the fuck do you think happens outside? What do you think's going on the Serengeti? What do you think happens in Africa? Fucking lions. What do you think they eat? Prepackaged? You think they eat Lunchables? They eat Giraffables. That's what they do. So the thing was sick or the thing was screwed up, so they whacked it up and they took the protein and they gave it to the lions. Hakuna Matata, bitches. That's how it works. What are you upset for? It's not like a dentist shot the giraffe. The giraffe was screwy and they whacked it up and they fed it to the lions. So they didn't use it for compost or fertilizer. They fed it to the lions. And the lions were probably stoked because you know what it'd be like? So think about this life. I never thought about this, but a lion. You're in a zoo. and you're surrounded by shit you usually eat, right? You're like, oh, there's the zebras. Oh, there's the giraffes. Oh, there's the elephants. All the shit we normally eat, except for there's a 13-foot fence between us, and we're just getting slopped by some lesbian with wholesale poultry twice a day. It'd be like if you took a fat guy, put him in a golden corral, and put a cage around him. And he'd just be like, oh, there's the deep fried shrimp. Oh, scampi. Ooh, hot wings. And at some point, some chick with big calves and khakis just came in and threw like some giblets at him and went, all right, you're good for today. I never thought about that fact that lions have to look at all the shit they would normally eat. That must take its toll emotionally. You think about lions at the zoo, they're never happy. They're either growling or yawning. They got two moves. They're like, I don't know. I don't think I'd make a good lion. Lions are like, should I yell at you or should I yawn? They're like, hey, fuck you. You're lucky I'm too tired to get up and eat you. So they got to live in a place that essentially has all the things they would be eating if they weren't in that place right next to us. I guess it's a lot like a champagne room at a strip club. Yeah. Except for the lion's not paying to be at the zoo. Huh.
And that's it. That's Adam Carolla from Quarantine.
That's Giraffe.
And your family called 5150 after that? Dad's yelling about giraffes.
Olga was Olga the only one in the house?
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, she's got to knock it off with "you scared me" shit. She lives in my kitchen. She has her back to the opening of the kitchen, and at 9 at night, I'll come walking into the kitchen, and she'll go, "Hi!" And it's like, okay, sweetheart, look, you got to get over it. There are other people in the house. They enter the kitchen. They can't all startle.
Pattern.
They can't all startle you.
You're going to have to put a bell around your neck.
She accuses me of being a quiet walker.
How dare you?
It's been said before many times.
You can put tap shoes on you.
I'll file that under, I wish we could have sex, but your cock's too wide. I look at that as a compliment, that I move with grace throughout my home.
Agility.
All right. Fitz Dog is in studio next. Take a quick break. Come back with the great Greg Fitzsimmons right after this.
I'm your emotional support animal, navigating our all-woke, no-joke culture.
My baseline, my factory default setting is right. I can be very right or super right, but I'm never wrong.
Written and narrated by Adam Carolla.
So grab a seat, preferably a toilet seat, as reading about how our society is going down the shitter will be good reading for when you're on the shitter.
Pre-order it now at adamcarolla.com.
Fitz Dog in studio. Sunday Papers is the new pod, co-hosted with Mike Gibbons. Is that Gibby, Mike Gibbons?
That's Gibby, yeah.
And longtime writer, TV writer, late night show writer, and many, many other. Funny guy, good guy. It's available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. And, of course, Fitz Dog Radio available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. How's this been treating you, Fitz Dog? I heard you talking off the air a little bit about it.
It's, it's not, it's like, it's life, It's like in your lifetime, crazy shit happens sometimes, and you try to look for the upsides. Like I got a bidet when the toilet paper flow was slow.
Right.
And of course, I got the poor man's bidet because the good ones were gone. So it's just the one that shoots cold water straight in your fucking hiney.
Yeah.
And people complain about that, but you know what? After you work out a grumpy and you've really put some muscle into it, and it took its way coming out. It popped its head out, looked around.
Yeah.
Like
saw its shadow, 2 more weeks of winter.
Yeah. And then you
licked its finger, put it in the air, I don't know which way the wind was blowing.
Goes back in a little bit.
Yeah.
Comes
Red
in
to green.
and out.
Yeah.
You start thinking, this must be like gay sex, going in and out like this. And then it comes out and it's hot. And then you throw a cold bidet stream on top of that. It's like working out and then hitting a cold shower.
Yeah. Nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It's also good for the, I don't know, we haven't talked about this in a while. the range in dumps, which is some back in the day. I got the bidet seat now as well. But
Well, I know your bidet seat is probably, you probably got the one with the remote control, and it's heated, and it's got like a tanning bed underneath, and something to bleach your asshole. Loofah.
Ultraviolet light. It's true. You know, I got to tell you the problem. The bidet remote control, the TV remote control, and my smartphone, my iPhone 10, when I'm explaining, there's a frustration in that I cannot utilize 10% of what this thing does.
Yeah.
I can turn it on and I can turn it off, but the vibrate mode and the heater mode and the part where it tells me to stop blaming my parents and all that stuff, I don't know how to really activate that part of it. I wish I could get to that part of it.
Right.
But
how do I get cologne to come out of this thing?
The very first one of those I ever tried, and you may have experienced this, which is when I would go to New York way back in the day, late 90s, if you were doing Letterman or went there to do Stern for a few days. Actually, I moved. All right, sorry. They put you up the Riga Royal.
Yeah.
Actually, Stern didn't put me up the Riga Royal. They put me up in a place where I literally, it's the only time I've ever done this in my life. I opened the door to the room and I just went, no.
Yeah.
And I just shut the door and walked back down to the lobby and walked to the Riga Royal. But anyway, the Riga Royal Hotel had the bidet seat in it in like the later 90s. And that moment for the first time when you push that button, that is a moment. That is a reckoning. That's an experience you've never had.
A rectomy.
It's a rectomy. And it's a leap of faith because you haven't had... Ass play is something that men have different reactions to. I've always been very open to it. I enjoy a finger, a tongue back there, well timed.
Yeah. My feeling with ass play is it's like if I just ate a meal... If I just ate out and came home and my wife said, "Would you like a Denver omelet?" I'd go, I'm full, but I like where your head's at. I like that. I appreciate that you're thinking that way. And that's how ass play is for me. Like I like the thought behind it.
Yes.
Courteous.
You appreciate the offering. It's like in nature when the female is presenting.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And you realize you're the alpha male. That's why she's presenting. It's a power move.
Right.
And whether or not you then have sex with the lioness depends on whether or not, again, did you just have a meal?
Right.
Did you just bang another lioness across, you got to reset.
Right. So I would say to my wife, no, thank you. I just fucked a lion.
That's right.
And I hope she would understand the metaphor. But I don't know. She seemed angry and confused.
I thought you smelled a little musky.
So, Fitzdog, do we put you down for the yay or the nay on the ass play?
Oh, I'm a yay.
Oh, okay.
And that's actually what I say when it happens.
Huzzah.
I say huzzah. That's hilarious. She licks your ass and you just go huzzah. I'm not, honestly, I don't think my wife and I have ever engaged in it, but in my single days, and I can remember, I go to a nightclub, dance with a girl, fucking sweat it up.
Oh, yeah.
And then go back. No, not even a question about did you shower. Didn't care. That was back in my drinking days.
Wow.
I go right into it, and I'd expect the same in return.
Who's more adverse to musk, males or females? Because in a weird way, I think women are geared to put up with the musk more than men. I never had this thought in my life. I think
we hear a lot of jokes about women and how they smell, and I think we are incredibly polite when we're not spending 23 hours of the day talking about your balls.
Yeah, that is.
I think we're just being polite.
How great they are?
No.
Yeah, the balls.
How great they could be.
They're kind of the Vegemite of the body, though. Like it's weird, it's bad, but if you grow up on it,
Australians are really into balls.
It's the balls. Well, the balls. That's like saying I love my car, but I hate the gas pump.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
it's
right.
part of the whole process.
It's part of the package.
Yeah, you're not going anywhere without the gas pump.
That's right. That's right. Well, you might go somewhere without the gas pump, but eventually you're going to have to turn back. All roads lead to the sack.
That's right.
I think that's what we're saying. And
Yeah.
I say huzzah. To
Huzzah!
that. So quarantine, how have you been doing this? The wife, the kids, who's at the home? At the
I
Fitz
got
dog home?
my daughter is just finished her junior year of high school, and my son is home from his freshman year of college back in March. So my son's, it's like my son is hyper, he's manic, my daughter's depressed, and my wife is anxious, and I'm just fucking horny because everybody's around all the time. And I just throwing a move has become like really tactical. It's become like, can you go to the store? I'll let you take a walk with the dogs.
Right.
Go.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't matter if the mood is right. Doesn't matter if you've been good. It's got to happen then and there.
Well, you know, we can make some lemonade out of these lemons, which is, and I've spoke about this openly, which is you can do that move where you go, just time for a quick blowjob. And then
Yeah, right.
my wife says, yeah, but the kids are in Florida. And I go, I know, but you never know about those return flights.
And when you say it's lemon, you give her a little lemon first, right? Gets her cheeks nice and tight.
It was a metaphor. But a pop rock on occasion is nice, or an Altoid.
No, it's true. You gotta force her hand a little bit, and it's but it's hard because my son is a jock, and so he's gotten really into exercise. We put in a heavy bag, and he's got him a jump rope and chin up bar, and so he's 19. So he takes me through these workouts, and I'm a 54-year-old out of shape piece of shit. But he's my son, and I'm not going to let him best me. So I do the V-shaped push-ups.
Wow.
And the burpees with the jump in between.
Is he getting into mixed martial arts or combat sports?
No,
or what
just hitting the bag. He's got a black belt in Taekwondo though.
Oh, really?
So he's got a good
Of
kick.
course.
Yeah.
What's his jockism? How does it manifest itself? Is he making
was
fun of nerds, or is he playing sports, or what's he doing?
He was a soccer star. He was the captain of his club team and his high school team, and they both were undefeated his senior year. And he's really obsessed. You talk to this kid about sports. Name a sport. I mean, we started watching German soccer because that was the only sport that's being played right now.
Right.
And it would be like Budenjga against Munich, and he knew the starting players on each team, where they played club. It's insane.
Yeah, my son is actually the same way, minus the part where he's good at sports. But he's obsessed with every player in the league. And
in soccer?
Oh, no, he hates soccer, but he loves
no.
American football. He loves basketball. Football and basketball are two things, but he'll just come walking into my den all the time. She's like, you hear Odell Beckham's on waivers?
Yeah.
And I'll go like, okay, it's good. Like, he's so he's so into it. And I'm doing with him what everyone should have done with us, but never did, which is I'm saying to him, okay, so you're not great at sports, but you are great at talking about sports. So you should start kind of pursuing that, you know, which he is. Like somebody, it would be nice if someone would have got hold of a 14-year-old Fitz dog and started shaping him a little bit, right? Like saying, well, this maybe your capacity.
Oh, no, that's actually what happened.
It did?
Yeah, my father encouraged me to go into comedy my whole life.
God damn it.
Yeah. I know, it's the opposite of your childhood.
that old fucking lush.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
No, my dad was a drunk, but he was a funny guy, and he was a radio guy, and he saw that every time I got near a microphone, I picked it up and I started telling jokes. I mean, from the age of like 7 or 8. And so he used to buy me comedy albums, and he took me to see Steve Martin when I was like 12.
Now I want to really kill my dad.
Yeah, I know. He was the best.
I don't know why more parents don't engage in that particular behavior. Like, we always talk about the kid's got a dream, he's got to have dreams, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And then we always talk about like the haves and the have-nots. This shit's free. You know what I mean? Like, you can say to your kid, it seems like this is something you like to do. Let's see if we can find a direction or a way to get you paid.
Right.
Because do we not know what kids gravitate toward? They make it abundantly evident. They're like, some kids are really into sports, and some kids are really into talking, and some kids are really into music, you know what I mean, or into helping animals or something. Like some kids love to explore and sort of muss around in the dirt. When I was a kid, I loved building stuff. I love, like, let's build a fort, you know, and it's like, because that's who I was.
Yeah.
Why? Yes, Brian.
Well, I was going to say, this might infuriate you even more. I can't speak for Gina, but you're surrounded by people right now whose parents fostered their love of something. Like my
100%
mom,
true.
My mom met I grew up in a very small suburb. My mom met the editor-in-chief of like the local paper, a very small paper, like 8 pages. And she's like, "Oh, my son loves writing and journalism. Can he call you sometime?" He's like, "Yeah." I called him. I started writing like sports reports for my fucking junior high school because my mom like reached out to this guy.
Yeah, my mom drove me to every audition in the Missouri and Kansas bi-state area.
I think your parents are the outliers.
Yeah, exactly. Singing lessons, dancing lessons, improv for kids, camp.
Yeah.
My father got to know Alan Zweibel, the writer for Saturday Night Live, like the original, and he introduced me to him.
I've interviewed Alan. He's a delight.
He used to, when I was 14, he used to take me to lunch. He took me to a party at Gilda Radner's house. He took me to a party. I met the whole cast.
Max Pat, I'm going to have to talk to you.
I opened for Richard Pryor when I was 11.
I used to, when I was like 7 or 8, my dad would bring me into the radio station so I could give the agricultural reports in Kansas.
Max Zapata wrote on the screen. Max Zapata wrote on the screen when he was 9. He got a toy called My First Podcast, and it was a little podcast studio. This is in the late 80s.
Yeah, he got his first pair of nursing shoes.
God damn it! Here was the career conversation I had with my dad. I do remember it. We're driving home from my Uncle Vince's apartment, adult man, an apartment from Santa Monica, and I was a Pop Warner football star, 10 years old, you know, and I was like, I wanted to play football. Yeah. And I said to my dad, back when we used to talk about guys being big guys, like John Wayne, that guy's a 6-footer, you know, and I looked at my dad, we're driving his VW Bug, and we're driving up Wilshire. I remember exactly where I was, and I just said, "Hey, Dad, I want to play football for a living. I want to go pro. You think I'll be a 6-footer?" And he goes, "I don't know. I'm pretty short, so I wouldn't count on it."
Anyway.
The sad irony of all of this, Adam, is that at age, 17 or 18, you probably showed the most promise of all of us because you were getting recruiting letters from colleges to play football.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I wasn't even that funny.
I sucked at writing.
All right. Well, everybody have the conversation that everybody but me missed didn't miss when I was a youth, and I think it's super important, and also when you put all your eggs in one basket, like when you're good at sports, and so you go, this is what I do, this is all I do, this is how I do it, and then it turns out it doesn't go anywhere. The other basket that's empty, which is called life, kind of sucks because that's how you get from high school football star to full-time working at A&B Carpets, cleaning carpets. That's how you get from there to there because there was no plan B, and plan A didn't work. And that was always my problem. We were going to talk about Spanish Immersion. I was just talking about that yesterday. Did both your kids do Spanish Immersion?
Yeah, they did. It was called dual immersion, and they went to this public school that had kids that 50% had to be from Spanish-speaking homes and 50% from English-speaking homes. And then the first 3 years, kindergarten through second, they only spoke Spanish the entire time. Wow. And then the next 3 years, they focused on the English. And that way, the Spanish-speaking kids were teaching the English-speaking kids how to speak and vice versa. And, like, I've taken my kids to a lot of Spanish-speaking countries, and they're like, I would never know your kids from America because their accent is from native speakers.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so they both are fluent?
Yeah, my
today?
son's minoring in Spanish in college now. And they can take the SATs half in Spanish, which looks really good for colleges.
Damn.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's great. I mean, what a thing to add to your resume when you're going out there. It's just you can now talk to a fifth of America fluently.
Yeah.
Greg, is the boy playing collegiate soccer?
No, he wanted to, but he wanted to spend his first year like getting laid and having getting drunk. And I supported that. I really did. I was like, D1 soccer is like 40 hours a week. For what?
Right.
What are you going to do? Graduate and play pro for a year in fucking Nova Scotia?
Your kids are living in SoCal, especially, man. That's Spanish. It's good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to help open doors and get jobs.
Yeah. And it's also, they say when you learn a second language young, it creates neurological pathways in your brain that are then used for math and science. It increases the ability of your brain. It's just like studying music at a young age, like very seriously. It does the same thing for your brain.
And also
When you learn so young, you, as an adult, you are not sitting there like the rest of us would be doing, hearing it in English and trying to translate each word as quickly as we can. They hear it in Spanish and process it in Spanish right back to you because they learned it so young.
Right.
And
the other great
instead of doing the translation in their brain, they don't have to do that anymore because they learned it at that young age.
Right. And the other great thing is they can tell me if my gardener's talking shit about me.
Yeah. And when they're out front of the Staples Center, no mayonnaise on the hot dog means no mayonnaise on the hot dog. I'm doing it all with my hands.
Yeah.
Hey, we have Shant and Jose. Shant is Sean. He's Armenian, and Jose, who are at the other shop. Those are the guys restoring my BRE Dawson 510 back there. We took the video of the 14... of the 14 celebrities, and
this is good production,
who are anti-racism video, and we showed
they
them
take responsibility.
The 14, they're taking responsibility for being white, and we showed Jose and Shant.
Yeah, so this
video.
is Jose. We'll watch Jose's.
All right.
And we just told him to call him out as he sees him.
All right.
I take responsibility.
The guy from Breaking Bad.
All right. Got the guy from Breaking Bad.
Don't know.
Responsibility. I take responsibility for every unchecked moment, for every time it was easier to ignore than to call it out.
Oh, you know Kristen Bell?
Every not so funny joke.
Don't know.
Every unfair stereotype.
Every blatant injustice, no matter how big or small.
Don't know.
Every time I remain silent.
Don't know.
Mark Duplass.
Don't know.
Never turned a blind eye. I take responsibility.
Clarice.
Black people are being slaughtered.
Clarice.
That's right, from Hannibal.
These are our brothers and sisters and friends.
Don't know.
Family. We are done watching them die. We are no longer bystanders. We will not be idle. Enough is enough.
It's the only two G's.
I will no longer allow an unchecked moment. I will no longer allow racist.
Oh, Tucci.
All right, so
I think I called it the closest.
Sean's was the same, except he knew Julianne Moore.
He got the name Julianne Moore?
Yeah.
Oh, Sean.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but
Hey,
I don't know for all the other
ask those fuckers if they know I'm a celebrity, because I don't feel like they act like they know.
Wait, did these people have masks on when he was trying to guess them?
No, so he got Guy from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And then he got Clarice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
She was Clarice Starling in the Hannibal sequel.
Right. But we got no celebrity names, but we did got one from Sean.
Yeah, Julianne Moore.
All right. So we took 14, we took two dudes, and we're 1 for 28.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know, maybe the blowhardy proclamations are going to fall on deaf ears. I'm not so sure. All right, let's see. Let me hit Geico here. That's
Geico. That's what I have.
Geico, and the good news about Geico is they're giving a little something back. The give back, 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies for current and new customers, because Geico's committed for the long haul. So the 15% credit lasts for your full policy term as well. Just go to geico.com/giveback for your info and eligibility. That is geico.com/giveback, and find out just how much you could be saving. All right, let's see. So Fitzdog, you're going out. Well, you haven't been out, and you're not going out until until August, right?
Yeah, I'm going to hit some dates in August. You're starting to hear about a couple clubs closing, going bankrupt. I was supposed to do a club in Boise that just went down. And you hate to hear these, you go to these independently operated clubs. It's just such a different vibe than when you go to a chain.
Mm-hmm.
You know that. Like there's just, they give a shit. The owner is there managing it and looking after you and teaching the staff how to police the room. And it's just, and those are the ones that are most vulnerable right now, and they're going down. So I don't know what's going to happen. I think they're going to let, you're working this weekend. What are they, like half the crowd in or something?
They, I did Houston Improv about 3 weeks ago, and they did half full, and then the next week they went to 3/4 full, and I think Zanies is 3/4, or I don't know if they must have given a percentage. I think it's a 3/4
so
full
is that,
room.
That's going to be tough for you because your rooms are usually only like half full, right?
Everybody makes that joke, Fitzsimmons.
Do they really?
It was the first thing that, of course, popped into my head too. Yeah. So I think they're doing well.
Do they have to wear masks?
You could probably. They didn't in Houston. Everybody who was serving and wait staff and all those people of anyone who was there officially working wore masks. For the audience, it was you could do it or not do it. It was your dealer's choice. And so the audience, as I look back at the audience standing up on stage, I don't think anyone wore a mask in the facility who was an audience member. I think that a lot of that was sort of, we'll make a statement. Again, I played half full rooms, and they don't expel a lot of particulates. It's a lot of. Dr. Fauci says arms folded, mouth zipped. That's the safest way you can do it, and he said laughter and knowing nods are really what spreads the disease.
Yeah, a sad sigh doesn't really spread that many germs.
You texting does not spread this disease.
Wait, what about eye rolling? Did they study if that?
They said the arms folded with the sighs, the safest posture. So that runs strong in my audience. Texting,
looking at your watch is safe.
Right. Yeah. And now the heartbeat actually slows down while you're asleep, right?
And I had others looking at the watch. They played it extra safe. A lot of them were pointing at the watch and then pointing at me and pointing at the watch. So I think for them,
giving the wrap it up,
playing it extra safe. Yeah, the wrap it up sign's a way to collect the disease before it lands in your nasal cavity. So a lot of that. Obviously, the safest place you can be is in the bathroom on the cell phone.
That's right.
We had a lot of that.
Yep.
Again, many not entering the club at all. Also, turning your back to the performers, a much safer posture to be in than facing the performer.
Right, and head down on the table. I guess the breath would go
That's
down.
Perfect.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Head down on the table.
Right.
Wife.
Little stream of drool kills a lot, of the airborne.
And I think shaking your head back and forth keeps you from.
Right. And ultimately, on the way out, along with the Purell wipe down, but the safest thing you can do is argue with the manager and try to get your money back. I found that many of my fans employed that as well.
Right. Now, does it? If they are writing a bad Yelp review, their fingers are touching the screen, which is probably not the safest thing in the world. And yet,
wait till you get home, people.
Yeah,
wait till you
they
get
still
home.
do it.
Right.
If you can announce out loud to your spouse, I told you this was a bad idea.
Yeah.
That's another way to stave off the virus. Again, I have some of the safest fans.
If you do it loud enough that the people around you can hear it, they're also protected.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the way they then come out the next night and hold signs and try to stop people from coming in is very effective.
Evidently, also announcing, I told you we should have waited for Brian Callen is also another way to kind of stave off the virus. Have we run this joke completely into the ground?
I think that's it.
Joke?
Yeah.
There's no more we can squeeze out of this joke.
No, that's it.
Yeah, so I'm going to Zanies
in Nashville.
Have you? You must have been to Zanies in Nashville.
I was supposed to play there once, and I had to cancel. And I I want to come back, but I don't know if I made them angry by canceling.
Oh.
So you may want to drop my name and see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's an amazing club from what I hear.
So how should I work it? Like I go, hey, by the by, I was just talking to Greg Fitzsimmons.
Yeah.
Like,
and you know, he'll keep things safe because his audience is yawn and look at their watch.
I'll go into
just
the
do that
routine
whole
again.
run on him.
So did you cancel kind of last minute?
I was working on Crashing, and we didn't get picked up until the last minute. And so I had to fly to New York and be on set to punch up. So I only gave him like a month's notice. I don't know. That could be it. But
what between I'm Dying Up Here and Crashing, two of my favorite sort of comedy-based series. I wish they were both back on. I enjoyed both those. I thought they were both kind of very interesting looks at that world of stand-up comedy.
Yeah, and you know, Seinfeld was the first one to do it, but he didn't really get into the nitty-gritty of the comedy, of the real stand-up, which these two shows really did. And there's a fascination with stand-up comedy in this country over the last 3 or 4 years. It's like everybody wants to do it now. Everybody wants to listen to podcasts about how to write a joke, what it's like to sell merch. Like the details of doing stand-up seem to be very interesting to the general public now.
You know, I wish somebody was interested in comedy going back to my shitty childhood, but I always kind of looked at I always had a sense of humor.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like having an oil refinery 10 years before the automobile was invented.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, yeah, you got this shit. Like, who can now get back to work?
Right.
Like, you think about the emphasis on a comedy, sense of humor, podcast, stand-up, whatever. Like, this is a real viable business, way to get paid, so on and so forth. Like, if somebody... You know, I got class clown in high school, but it was a sort of neither here nor there proclamation. Like, yeah, you're super funny. Now go clean carpets.
Right.
I think now, parents aside, my own horrible parents aside, but I think society would have intervened. Like, I would have had a buddy or school teacher go, you should go down to the Deli Smoker and do an open mic or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right. No, and when I started doing stand-up, the first time I did it, I was in high school, and I did a gram of Coke with my friend on the slide at the playground.
Really?
At the lower school. And then I went up and I did some Cosby jokes. I did some Carlin jokes. And then I started making fun of the Western Civ teacher was sleeping with the art teacher. And it was kind of known, but it was kept quiet because it wasn't allowed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did 5 minutes on them fucking. And the principal pulled out the cord on the microphone from backstage. And so I put the mic down and I screamed the rest of my act to the auditorium. And
Wait a minute, that was at school.
It was the senior talent night.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. No pre-approval on those jokes?
No, I don't know why they didn't ask me. I think they were so confused
There's a girl
about
waiting in the wing.
What's that?
There's a girl waiting in the wings with an umbrella ready to do her over the rainbow.
Right.
You're so real about two teachers fucking.
Oh, yeah. Let's figure that out. Let's figure out our school's comedy and our school talent, because there was clearly my high school had a talent show and a guy did do stand-up comedy in it. And I'm sure it was rough and it was bad and it was whatever. And I thought it was hysterical. Like, I couldn't believe he was doing stand-up comedy in a talent show. We had the other one. I remember two of them. One was there was always a cool kid with the drum kit who knew how to drum.
Yeah.
And this guy just set up his whole drum kit and was just, going at it. And there was hair flying everywhere.
Sure,
and
he got laid that night.
He got laid that night. Then there was a kid who got up there with acoustic guitar and played Dust in the Wind. I remember. And that was in junior high. I was like 13. It's like, all we are is dust in the wind. I was like, I haven't even gotten a blowjob or my learner's permit yet, dude. How about a little Up with People or something, a little finger popping music over here? You see that movie Can't Stop the Music? Come on, here we go.
Yeah.
He sung Dust in the Wind.
That's hilarious.
And he sung, and we had a guy. who played the banjo, red-haired kid, blonde-haired kid.
So is a red-haired kid.
Yeah, Dwayne Donkers Good.
Sure.
And that guy played that goddamn banjo. I think like him and his brother. Do you guys remember? Do you have thoughts of your talent night? Yes, Brian.
Very specific. I've never told this story before. Probably never. Certainly not on this podcast. Maybe not in public. But my high school didn't have a talent show. It was all guys high school. No one cared. My middle school had a talent show. 1992. Wayne's World was big, not only in the world but in my life. And me and my friend Kenny Borkwin did Wayne and Garth. We did a Wayne's World skit, all like original material. That wasn't great, but like. It was so fucking head and shoulders above any other moment of my youth in terms of popularity. It was a fucking rock concert. I'm telling you, people were screaming. They were enjoying themselves such. Please, if someone went to Central Middle School in 1992, please call in and verify, because this was by far the highlight of my middle school years. And we did a Wayne and Garth, and we lost to some bitch who sang Clang, Clang, Clang Goes the Trolley.
Were you Wayne or Garth?
I was Wayne. He was Garth.
Wow.
Hey, as long as we're doing shout outs, the chick from 1979 that was drunk with Fitzdog who licked his anus, if you're listening, baby, I wouldn't mind hearing from you either.
She's dead.
Oh.
And Justin Fecal matter.
Anyway.
But she died from something else, right?
Toxoplasmosis.
They're still looking into it.
Is she really dead?
No.
Oh, you didn't stand. How much time were you supposed to do at your school stand-up?
I was supposed to do
show?
10. I did a solid 15. I did the dentist routine, Cosby's dentist routine, and I announced it. I didn't say this is my bit. I go, I want to do Cosby, and then I had a couple other jokes, and I remember I got off stage, and I went out the side door, and I jumped up and down for 3 minutes. I had never felt anything like that. And the cocaine helped.
Right.
But I had never felt exhilaration like that in my life. And it was over. I was like, this is what I'm doing. And I did it in college. And then by the time I graduated college, I was already making a living, because every night I was out doing stand-up, and during the day I'd go to class.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't a good living, but I never had a job.
Wow. I was literally having this conversation. I was doing an interview today, and I said, I'm happy that I worked in the world doing like real blue collar stuff for an extended period of time, because I felt like I just learned a lot about how things worked, and I have an appropriate sort of relationship with danger. I've said, I know what each tool does. I know what it can do. I know what it can, how it can hurt you, or how to handle it, and that kind of stuff. And then I said, a lot of comedians I know had jobs, but like bartending jobs and jobs that were a little less, roofer, working,
hard labor,
like that kind of stuff. Like jobs where there were jobs, but they weren't those kind of serious blue collar, whatever. But you've never really had a real job other than stand up?
Well, I did tons of jobs in high school and college, but I never had a career. I've never made a resume.
Right.
It was always more like, I caddied. I used to caddy in the summers, and I was a cook at TGI Fridays.
But you've never, I've never really officially filled out a job application.
Yeah, I've never done that.
You do carpet cleaning for Art Fuss and Van Nuys. He just has a van, and you just get into it and go drive it and clean people's carpets.
Yeah.
And then when you go into a construction site, you just start digging ditches and pulling ivy off the side of the house. Never filled that out. And then at some point, I just work for myself. And then at some point, you start doing comedy, and there's never an application.
Right. Right.
Is that kind of a rich man, poor man? Because for, digging ditches, they didn't give you one. And for big contracts, you had somebody else look at it.
It is a rich man, poor man. And also, as I flash back to, early June of 1982, when I was walking up and participating in my high school graduation, I think I was 497 out of a group of like 560 or something with my 1.7 GPA.
Yeah.
As I was walking up there, and the principal I was going, where's my diploma? And he's like, you don't get your diploma. And I was like, why don't I have a diploma? He's like, you owe the book room $19. I remember the time thinking, I'm not going to pay the book room. I don't think I'm ever going to use this.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's ever going to want to see it.
All right.
And nobody ever wanted to see it. I never had to present it to anybody. And that was my story. Oh, there I'm 497 out of 570 with a 1.75 GPA. And by the way, that 570, 40 of those kids went back to their native whatever or died on a moped. Like, there was a smaller group
did not
than that.
DNF did not finish.
Right.
Yeah.
That was your category. Moped deaths and Adam Carolla.
That's right.
Yeah.
Fuck, God. Why do they even have to? What? Do they give the ranking today? I feel like that ranking is unnecessarily shaming. You know, I mean, we had essentially we ran a 10K with 570 people in it, and you came in 497th out of that.
I don't know. I like it. I like it. I think kids today need to know where the fuck they are. I think there needs to be more like, gymnastics. You do your routine. You got a fucking 6.
Well,
you sucked.
The great, equalizer was the carpet cleaning wand. I wasn't like, I knew where I was. I had a carpet cleaning wand. I wasn't walking the halls of Yale or Brown or Harvard. I was in Van Nuys cleaning carpets 6 months later. So it's like, I got my ranking.
Yeah, right.
The magic wand of the steamer, the carpet machine will let you know your ranking.
And I think your salary becomes your ranking after you get out of school.
Yeah.
And nobody talks about that either. Nobody ever says exactly what they make, which is you can look it up. Once you're worth over $1 million, you can search net worth online, and I can find out what they think you're worth anyway, which is never right.
Well,
but
it's
we had some incredibly surprising revelations when we did that with Adam.
Oh, yeah.
There was a gentleman that apparently he and Adam are neck and neck.
Well, me and Weird Al are both allegedly worth $16 million, which
Weird Al has been on the Billboard top 20 charts in 4 different decades.
That's why I'm personally devastated by this news. I can't believe Weird Al and I are in the same bracket.
Yeah.
I don't think we belong there, but...
You mean you think he's higher than you?
He should be. He's Weird Al.
Yeah.
I listened to him on Dr. Demento when I was 13 years old. And then we found out Chris Maxipata's net worth was, what was yours?
It was 6, but now I'm at 15.
You're at 15 million?
Yeah.
Oh, muzzle.
Whoa! Hey, man. I want to talk to you about taking a haircut with this whole COVID thing, and maybe now's the time. Yeah, so now it's nuts. I had oh shit. What's the comedian? God damn it, I can't think of the comedian's name. He's
Andy Dick?
That's right. No, he was in the military, was shot in the head. And
Rob Riggle?
No. He works for a local radio station. He's of Asian descent.
Tom Tran?
Is it Tom Tran? Yeah, it must be Tom Tran.
I mean, there's so many Asian comedians.
It's transsexual.
Where's he worked for? He's not a KFI guy, but he did radio. Gina will know. Gina will recognize it at some point. But when he was in the service, he was shot in the head. And very funny for a guy who was shot. No.
KNX guy.
KNX, yeah, funny guy. Anyway, he got up there when when comedy clubs were open at the Laugh Factory, and he's like, it says my net worth is $16 million, but I don't even have, $200,000 or whatever. Yeah. And then I went up next and I was like, my net worth says 16 million, and that's about right.
Yeah.
So I don't know how the fucking thing works.
Right. I think they go by whatever's published, like if you make a deal and then they look at your real estate. You can go on Zillow and look up somebody's house. And I think that's nowadays most people are house rich. They have way more money in their real estate than they do in their bank account.
Absolutely.
Holy shit, did you see the fucking market is down like 1,500 points today?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, they announced.
Dive.
The Fed announced that there's going to be unemployment through 2023 much higher than we thought it would be, and it just tanked.
And it had been they had a nice run for the last week or two.
Well,
I report every day. It's up. No, today was horrible.
Do you think, sorry, just jumping around, but when are they going to reopen the Comedy Store and the Improv and all these places? The rest of the country's opening up.
Yeah, I heard July in L.A.
At like a half capacity?
Yeah, something like that. I think they'll get rid of half the tables or something, which is really... For comedy, it's so hard when everybody's not packed together and pushed up towards the stage. That's the whole key to stand-up comedy. And if they're spread out around the room, it's not conductive. The laughter doesn't spread. So I think it's going to become a different sport. It's going to become comedians that can be comfortable with silence between jokes and be able to not start rushing and start freaking out and just because the audience... I don't think is going to freak out that there's not as much laughter. I think they're going to be happy that they're out and they're watching a show. But I mean, how did you find it in Houston?
It was at 50%, so people were spread out. It was kind of weird because there was a table right up front and it was empty, and it's weird looking down at your feet and just seeing that empty table up front. It's interesting the way your mind works. You have a context immediately, so your mind adjusts and sort of grades on a curve. So like normally when you do that thing where it's like, well, we sold out the early show, but the late show's about half full, and you'd go out to what is your half, the people voted with their wallets. You didn't sell out the second show, and you go out and it's a half full room. Your mind processes it in a sense of like, well, I wish I'd sold the other half of this room. But when the other half of the room isn't there by law and it is technically sold out, and the laughter spread out, but your mind has a context and it processes that information differently than when you go out and do a late show or Sunday show or whatever that is, and there's that half filled audience. And I would say that it works effectively.
Well, you're also a guy who can sit alone in a room and talk for an hour and a half. I mean, for some comics, they're so addicted to the constant laughs that they really start. I see it when there's a small crowd at the Comedy Store and you see guys that normally kill, and all of a sudden all they do is crowd work and deconstruct what's going on instead of just going, no, I can just put this shit out there and know that it's funny.
Right. All right.
Plus, Adam, I'm sorry. I'll just tag on that. We have experience doing, at least for the podcast, like odd shows, like when we did like Louisville at the Bullet facility. That was like a semi-private show for like 25 people, you know what I mean? Which it felt odd, but then it was like, oh, just do the show.
Right.
Yeah. I guess you're right. There's so many different venue changes and so many different cruise ships and Bullet Distillery live shows and live at a pizza parlor. I've done so many different venues, and also doing a show at 2 p.m. versus 8 p.m. and no drinks and all that kind of stuff. I think once you get used to that, then you just kind of become like a mixed martial artist of comedy, where you just sort of, you don't have one discipline anymore. You're sort of used to everything. All right, let me hit LifeLock, and then we'll do some news after that. Hacker group called Shiny Hunters breached 73 million user records from dating apps, delivery services, online stores, newspapers. They're selling it all on the dark web. It's important to understand how cybercrime and identity theft is affecting our lives. Everyone is out there. They're all on the internet. We're buying stuff. We're ordering stuff. We're ordering food. It's all good until they steal your identity. It's 2020, people. This is the wave of the future. These guys are hackers. They steal your identity. You need protection. You need insurance. It's called LifeLock. Right, Dawson?
No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. LifeLock can see threats you might miss on your own. Join now and save up to 25% off your first year by using promo code Adam. Call 1-800-LifeLock or head to LifeLock.com. Use promo code Adam for 25% off.
All right, let's take a quick break. Come back, do the news with Gina, Fitzdog, and Brian right after this.
Give me the news with Grad. News with Gina Grad. Breaking viral, all those crazy Trump tweets. Give me news with Gina Grad. Trouble in the Middle East. Celebrity drunk meltdowns. Deep news with Gina Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
I just got an alert right now. It is down 1,800 points.
Damn.
So hopefully that hemorrhage stops at some point. Did you guys hear about Chaz, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone in Seattle?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. So that's this new area basically that's popped up in Seattle after officers left the Seattle Police Department's East Precinct and boarded up the building amid all the demonstrations. Protesters just flooded that area and occupied it for around 6 blocks of that area. And the sign above the station's door has been a little reworked. It said Seattle People's Department East Precinct. Now it says this space is now property of the people. Photos have shown barriers around the area, suggesting that those occupy the area. They're saying it's not Coachella. Bring your sleeping bag. We're here for the long haul. The first event, they're on like night 3 or 4 now, was June 10th, described open to everyone who wants to talk about life in the new autonomous zone, everyone who positions themselves for Black Lives Matter and against police. And they have a list of demands.
Oh, it's always good.
Big banner.
Yeah.
And there's a long list, but here's a couple of the main highlights. So some of the demands: abolishing the police department 100% defunding. That includes pensions, disallowing the operations of ICE in Seattle, rent control and de-gentrification of Seattle, free college education, mental health experts on hand for 911 calls. And on the subject of health, this one I was not prepared for.
Foreskin restoration.
No, but I'm sure it's down there on the list.
It's got to be on the list.
We've heard all of these sort of talking points already. This one I had not heard yet. The document called for medical and care facilities to employ Black doctors and nurses specifically to help care for Black patients.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It always works when you have someone Black working on, like Don King. He represented Black fighters so they wouldn't get ripped off or hurt by.
Oh, wait.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
That's how it always works. It always works best that way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and you know who would probably agree with that demand? Racists.
Yes.
Because that's the way they liked it back then. So why would we? Okay.
Well, it's funny that when the demands trying to stomp out racism end up being racist. Like we need Black dorms and we need Black only graduations at college.
Water fountains.
Yeah. We want our own drinking fountains. Yes.
Own swimming pool.
We like our own counter at the deli.
Yeah. This is odd to me.
Well, it always eats itself, but it also always kind of turns back and becomes whatever it is it was railing against. There's a couple things about this. Obviously, it'll never work. There's no math where this ever works. But the other thing is I saw some pictures and they had put up a smoking section in their new Xanadu. There was like a cardboard sign taped to a tree and it's like smoking section. And I don't know. I just like it. They've taken over. They've planted their flag in the name of Spain, and it took them. Their first order of business was a smoking section. I thought that's how hyper aware we are of smoking sections now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this guy. Look, I don't. Is Janet Reno still alive? Because we got to dust her off and get her on this shit. Because I know she's the woman to handle this.
Well, and it's interesting, too, because they talked to, of course, the police department, and the whole thing about this movement is they're leaderless, and there's no one in charge, or at least willing to say they're in charge. So the police don't know who to talk to because they don't want another, storm in and wrestle people out of there and make it a big deal. They want to talk to the leaders and negotiate and just peacefully de-escalate. But there's no one to talk to. It's just like it's like a peaceful Thunderdome. But people are apparently walking around with guns and stuff. There's rumors that they won't let certain people in or out. Some news outlets say we didn't see that, but that's what the police are saying. So, we don't know how hairy this is going to get, or if it's just going to be the new utopia and we'll all get on board. Who knows?
It'll be interesting. Obviously it can't work. The problem with the sort of the plan, the new world order, where it's like nobody's rich and nobody owns land, or everyone's rich and everyone owns land, and college is free and everyone gets first class, everyone's entitled to world-class healthcare and all that kind of stuff. I always describe it as sort of a Rubik's Cube, except for a Rubik's Cube, if you do it and you take some time, you can line it all up eventually. Mm-hmm. This is a Rubik's Cube where somebody colored in a bunch of the different squares and you can twist it.
They pulled off the stickers.
You just keep twisting it and you go, I got it this time. And then you hand it off to another guy. This guy can do it. He's smart. And you just keep turning it and it'll never line up. That's the problem with this. But it'll be fun to watch.
Well, I don't know if you saw this guy in the news. FedEx has fired one of its New Jersey employees after the man reenacted the death of George Floyd in front of a group of protesters. And you could just watch the clip as I talk about it. This is one of his buddies on the ground with his knee in his neck. And you'll see the rest of the stuff in the clip. So the peaceful protesters, they were flanked by police. They marched past this group of men, the guys standing on this dude's neck, Trump flags, American flags, thin blue line flag, all lives matter signs. The group, which included one man kneeling on another's neck, he shouted at the protesters. FedEx told TMZ the behavior depicted in this video, which involved a FedEx employee, is appalling and offensive. The employee in question was immediately removed from all FedEx work duties while our investigation is concluded and all internal procedures are followed. So don't mess around, people. You're not going to keep your job.
In a world
where...
No,
they fired him overnight.
Good stuff.
In a world where you can get shit canned for not making a declaration about how you stand with Black Lives Matter, kneeling on a coworker while people are filming it, he had to know.
Yeah.
He had to know that. I always wonder, like, it's my theory that I developed on Loveline, which is like, I'd go, how did you find out your boyfriend was cheating? It's like, oh, he left his phone out and it was open and there was a text on it and he left it in the kitchen on the counter. And I'm like, I think he wanted to break up.
Yeah.
Like this guy wanted to move on, right? He's got a country band. They're starting to get some traction.
Yeah.
He wanted to leave FedEx, but he didn't want to tell his wife he was quitting and going full country, so he did this. Right.
And now he's got a fan base.
Offer. Yeah, lucrative offer from DHL.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
Well, and there's been a few of these signs. There's, a few Facebook profile pictures that's been going around with people jokingly kneeling on people's necks. So I don't know if this is the new meme that's going to get squelched or not.
I thankfully haven't seen it, but these people they cannot be. They all have
One's
to be.
like a grandmother.
They have to be self-employed, right?
She's
really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, let me see. Guys, I don't know if you could find that or not.
We have the video of Nate looking at the celebrity blowhards and the proclamations.
Good.
Now, hold on a second. He's in the business. We make documentaries. Let me hit Postmates. The Carollas, man. We're all up in Postmates. At least my kids are. They're all over. And my wife is as well. Food right to your door. Non-contact delivery. Everything gets left right outside. And or there's Postmates pickup. Support your neighborhood spots right now. We've been ordering from our neighborhood restaurants. And one good thing about this thing is keeping the local places up and going until they can finally start opening the doors and letting people in. Postmates doesn't just deliver burgers and sushis, but anything you need. Walgreens, 7-Eleven, whatever, you need it. They got it. Just download Postmates on iOS, Android, and find your favorites and get anything you want delivered within an hour, right, Dawson?
For a limited time, Postmates is giving our listeners $100 of free delivery credit for your first 7 days. To start your free deliveries, download the app and use code Adam Carolla. That's code is ADAMCAROLLA for $100 of free delivery credit for your first 7 days when you download the Postmates app. Anything you need, anytime you need it, Postmate it.
Mm-hmm. Nate is now looking. Now, Nate makes documentaries and movies. So
he's the co-director of Uppity.
Co-director of Uppity. Black Lives Matter's choice on Netflix. All right, he's going to watch it. He should be better at this.
I take responsibility.
The Breaking Bad kid, what's his name?
I knew it.
Responsibility.
Probably some model
I take
girl.
Responsibility.
I don't know who that is.
For every unchecked moment. For every time it was
Kristen
easier
Bell.
to ignore than
I
to
remember
call
her.
it for what it was.
Every not so funny joke.
Don't know that guy.
Every unfair stereotype.
Every blatant injustice,
Is that
no
the
matter
girl
how
from
big or small.
Will and Grace?
Every time I remain silent.
That's the bad guy from a TV show. Oh, that's Ron Howard's daughter, I think.
Or turned a blind eye. I take responsibility. Black people are being slaughtered in the streets, killed in their own homes. These are our brothers and sisters, our friends, our family. We are done watching them
I know.
die.
Is that Piper Parable?
We are no longer by
Piper Parable.
Wow.
Did you get it?
Got Piper
One name
Parable.
check.
The hardest name there.
No longer allow racist, hurtful words, jokes, stereotypes, no matter how big.
I know all these guys' movies. I can name.
I will not turn.
Stanley Tucci, by the way, Fitzdog said no more jokes, no more racially based jokes. He's not going to stand for it. So I don't know. I don't want to
Fucking
tell you
Italians are like that, you know?
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't want to tell you what to say, but I'll run your act through Tucci and see if he salutes. If not, he may circle a few jokes. He may have an issue.
Yeah, there's going to be an issue when I play a game called Guess the Asian, which I did on my last special, where I went into the crowd and I guessed the ethnicities of every Asian woman in the crowd with alarming accuracy.
Stanley finds that problematic.
Yes, I would imagine he would.
Okay. I do like now celebrities are blowing so hard that they're announcing that they're not going to endorse any jokes of that could be anything close to racial or allow it.
It's a third of all comedy.
I'd say. Yeah. Okay, Stanley. Thank you. You know what we should do? Get these guys out to. You ever see those wind farms outside of on the way to Palm Springs? Sure.
Yeah, way to Coachella.
Sometimes you're driving out there and those things aren't doing anything. They're just sitting there frozen. You know what I mean? Not generating any kilowatts. Let's get Tucci and his celebrity buddies from this video to get out there and get those fucking things moving with their fucking blowhard pablum. Wouldn't that be awesome? Tell Tucci.
Bring a lot of good.
Hey, you like clean, green energy? Yeah. You're a mega blowhard? Right. Okay. I just made a fucking peanut butter cup. We'll take you and your fucking blowhardism, and then we'll get those big windmills moving, and we'll light up the city. And I'll go have a date shake over here at Hadley's and laugh my ass off. Sorry. Go ahead, Gina.
Well, in the spirit of Shelley Luther and everything she's done, this is a very interesting story. I think you will probably reference in the coming days. No cases of coronavirus have been linked to 2 Missouri hairstylists who saw 140 clients last month while symptomatic, according to county health officials and CNN.
Wow.
Both stylists worked at the same Great Clips location. The clients and the stylists all wore face coverings. The salons had set up other measures, social distancing, staggering appointments. Of the 140 clients and 7 coworkers potentially exposed, 46 took the test. They all came back negative. All others were quarantined for the duration of the incubation period. The 14-day incubation period has now passed. No coronavirus cases linked to the salon beyond the 2 stylists. They also checked in with all of the people that didn't get tested and apparently symptom-free, at least right now.
In the salon and nail specialists or technicians, I think she called them.
Nail technicians?
I think.
Yeah, nail tech.
Nail tech, which were right up there, you know, when Trash Man got moved to, you know, sanitary section or whatever. Yeah. That's I know euphemism when I hear one.
Started when they started calling comics comedians. Come on.
So now you can look it up there, Max Pata, but nail polish has, I think, benzene in it or something in it that is noxious. It's bad. It's like it's toxic. I'm not one of these people, but I have walked in. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but I've walked into my bedroom and my wife is like done her nails, and you walk in and it's like your eyes start watering. Like
it's pungent.
The nail polish is tough, and it's got to be a brain cell killer. It is not good. And if you've ever gone to one of those places where they have, like, they do the haircuts here and they got the ladies doing the nails over there. If they don't have that thing with the super induction vent going on, if they don't have Stanley Tucci and company standing next to them blowing toward an exit, it hits hard. And
it stings.
There should be a little more ventilation, because I will bet you just like we do it with the NFL linemen. You know, they die, and then we do the autopsy on their brain, and we find all that weird brown in there. I guarantee if you found these women who had 40 years into the nail all day, that's all they do is paint that shit on. I'll bet you if you examine their brain, you'd find the same thing.
Not to mention the fumes coming off some scraggly 70-year-old's toenails.
That's right.
The cheese.
They got CTE.
The between-toe cheese that's happening.
It has
BTC.
toluene in it, which affects the central nervous system, right? Is that?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Its major use is an additive in gasoline, and then some formaldehyde, dibutyl phthalate. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Regular nail polish is kind of toxic shit, and every 13-year-old girl in America is like in her room with the door closed, putting it on with her friends.
Okay.
It's again, look, we're gonna worry about third-hand smoke. We should. Can't they make that stuff with? First off, everything at Home Depot is water-based now. Like you can't get paint for your fence or primer for your fence that's not water-based, and it's all doesn't smell like anything. What are these ladies doing with their fingernails? I mean, why does it need to be as durable as it is? They must have some green version of that shit, Maxipata. Like, there's got to be some sort of water-based, chemical-free, low odor, whatever nail polish that nobody wants to use. Like,
you can do gels, and they don't. To my knowledge, from my experience, they don't really have that smell. And literally, you just peel it off; it doesn't chip. But it's very expensive. I think nail polish is cheap. And people are used to it.
Yeah, because you really go through a bottle of that stuff fast. Polishing every other month with 10 strokes of the brush. I mean, when I do foot worship, and I'm a vegan, I insist there's no animals used in the nail polish.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't even want that in my mouth.
Yeah. Foot worship.
Yeah.
I always wonder, does that mean you have low self-esteem, or one would have low self-esteem?
I don't know what I don't know what would cause somebody to have that.
Well, can I ask this? All the people who explain away all the bizarre, deviant sexual behavior, that whole thing where it's like, well, you know when it starts, you're a little kid, you're 2 years old, your mom is in the kitchen, she's barefoot. Right, so you want to fuck her later? Like, yes, we've all experienced them when we're all 2, and we've all experienced a taller mom walking past us. I didn't start beating off.
Right.
Why is it always explained away that way? Oh, yeah, right. So that's why you're dressing up like a garanimal and butt fucking your neighbor.
Yeah, because my mom gave me a teddy bear when I was 13 and hitting puberty.
Right, she was barefoot, though.
Yeah.
She should have been wearing Uggs in the kitchen.
Yeah.
She scrambled your brain sexually.
I think there's something about it, though, that I admire. Like when you watch those, HBO always has those shows late at night, Real Sex,
I know.
where they show all these crazy
I would talk more about it, but I have a class action lawsuit that I'm spearheading against them because I always go, ooh, real sex. What do we got here?
Yeah, right.
Is this some hot body competition, or is this...
it's a little too real.
It's like mud wrestling. No. We go to Schnitzelburg, Germany, and it's like heavy... The chick with the fetish, the dude's hung by his nipples in the 70s. It's like, this is the opposite of jackable.
Oh, yeah. Can I get the under 65 version of Real Sex? It's always like, I saw one, and there was a woman riding her husband. They were both naked, and they were both about 60. And he was on all fours, and she was riding him like a horse.
Right.
And he had on a horse bridle.
Yeah.
And then and a little saddle.
Right.
And then as he was riding her, she took a carrot and she put it in front of his mouth, and he took one bite, and then she reached back and she stuck it up his ass, and then everybody had an orgasm. And I was like, good for them. They figured that out. That doesn't come to you easily. There's a lot of trial and error. Maybe could have been a zucchini the first time, and he went, eh.
Hey,
well, no, that's why he took a bite. That's why he took a bite, because that pointy end got him a few times.
They had the order correct. The last time, they flip-flopped the order with the bite in the asshole.
Yeah.
Hey, by the by, Fitzdog, I'm going out of town this weekend to Zany's. I need someone to watch the kids. And you have a lot of good stories.
Yeah. Are they having a party where I can entertain?
I think you do it in a more casual way. You sit down, you start talking about real sex on HBO. You weave the tale about the pony and the rider and the fella and their unique relationship.
Kids love horses.
Kids love horses.
Yeah, you gals like ponies.
All right, let me hit the legal Zoom. It's a new world out there with new challenges. You need to get some legal help to overcome a lot of those challenges, and that's where Legal Zoom comes in. Wondering the best way to protect your family. Thinking of starting a business? Don't get legal questions held back. Go with Legal Zoom. Don't let it hold you back. And Mark Garagos, who'll be in here in about 10 minutes, tells people go to Legal Zoom. If you don't want to pay those billable hours, you go with Legal Zoom. Get the right solutions for over 19 years. Protect your family with a living trust. Start a business, a DBA, LLC, nonprofits. You can get all started online at LegalZoom, right, Dawson?
Visit LegalZoom.com today to take care of some important things you need to get done. That's LegalZoom.com. LegalZoom, where life meets legal.
What else, Gina Grad?
So we touched on the firings and stepping down and resigning of Bon Appetit and different places in corporate America. I don't think we talked about CrossFit. CrossFit CEO Greg Glassman has resigned from the workout program he founded 20 years ago after he received backlash from a racist comment he tweeted last weekend. About
how awesome is this for Papa John, the Papa John pizza guy, right?
That's right.
Like this guy was just sitting on the sideline on an empty bench. He got shit canned or Me Too'd or Black Lives Mattered, a year and a half ago. And now he's got company now, right?
Yeah, down in the well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So responding to a tweet suggesting that racism is a public health crisis, Glassman tweeted, "It's Floyd-19." The comment was immediately criticized and saw gyms and companies, including Reebok, ending their relationship with CrossFit. The company issued an apology on behalf of Glassman, but then BuzzFeed News obtained audio of him from a company's Zoom meeting saying that neither he nor his staff are mourning George Floyd. Glassman ultimately decided to resign and issued a statement saying, "I cannot let my behavior stand in the way of HQs or affiliates' missions. These are too important to jeopardize."
How do you obtain video of the Zoom meeting?
You can record a Zoom meeting.
They contacted somebody from the meeting.
Yeah, or audio. Yeah, get your phone recording or whatever.
Right. But now, how does it work when you record your Zoom meetings? Should you announce that you're recording? Like, should you know? Like, what is the legal obligation?
There's a red dot on it that says recording, so people know you're recording.
Ours says recording. But they probably just held their phone, and just put it right here and left it recording. Like somebody probably from the Zoom meeting.
So
if
now,
the audio makes its way to a news outlet, he didn't have a lot of fans, you know what I mean? Like that's someone they made it there for a reason. It wasn't like, oh, this needs to be heard. Like, no, it was a bit of a hit job.
Yeah. All right. It's weird when you start a company. That was the whole Papa John thing. Like he started that company and he's out.
Out politely. Yeah. Out saying I'm doing what's right for, I don't know, a company that I'm no longer at. That means he's got stock options or something, right?
Yeah, he started the company, but now he's got a corporate, parent company or something that owns it, or whoever's putting pressure on him, and then he's got stock, so he probably doesn't want the stocks to go down, so he taps out. It's kind of and I don't know how old he is, but a lot of guys don't retire or don't know when to retire, or don't know how to retire. This is like a forced retirement for a lot of people. All right, again.
I'm glad because I did CrossFit once and I had some fucking Nazi ex-Green Beret guy and I did it for an hour and I hung in with it. It was the most painful hour of my life. I was sore later. Fuck this guy. I'm glad he's out.
Yeah.
He's 63.
You're right.
Yeah, it's time to retire.
I've never done CrossFit, but I find it shaming because there is a CrossFit gym that's across the way from a warehouse that I own, and they have a lot of glass out front. And when I see those chicks and dudes in there hoisting and doing the deadlifts,
tires,
and pounding tires with a sledgehammer, I'm taking another bite off my hoagie. A little single tear comes down. I'm like that Indian by the side of the highway. I'm like, wow, these people are so fucking disciplined. Look at them.
No, then they do
drop
wind
of mayonnaise.
Yeah, they should do those places up like strip clubs. You know what I mean? Get rid of all the windows, put up some
Blackout
stucco.
curtains.
Fucking spare me.
On stage 9.
That's right.
Andy is doing reps of 150 pounds in your face.
God, who we get next? I don't know. How do you guys feel? I know there's a sort of Schadenfreude aspect of this. I mean, everything sort of boils down to a dynamic, a psychological dynamic. There's something flawed in us, in human beings, because we like to see other people be called out and suffer, an element of I'm glad it's not me, and all that kind of shit. And we used to keep it in check. We used to tamp it down. We used to pretend like we were above it or over that or evolved past it. But we're in a new era where all these horrible sort of inclinations or these horrible facets of being a human being, all the shit they tried to work out of you when you were 9, you know what I mean? Like you can't do this. You know, it's like somebody would slip and fall and smack the ground. And when you were 9, you just laugh your ass off. And then someone said, hey, you're not allowed to do that. Like you're not, or someone would go, here's your bowl of M&Ms, share them with your sister. And you go, fuck that witch. And you just take them all. And there are all these things that we attempted to kind of push out of young people. We haven't been doing a good job of that. And now the chickens are coming home to roost because we got a whole bunch of fucking people that are digging it when other people are getting fired and canceled and losing their livelihood. And they're announcing that they're digging it, which is that's the jump the shark part, the part where we're vocal about it. You know, we all have feelings like, oh, good, got rid of that guy. I didn't agree with him, but we didn't announce it. We're getting to a place now where we're announcing it. And celebrating it. And we need to reel it in a little bit because the whole cancel culture thing is dangerous. It doesn't really have an end. It'll eventually get to everyone. And the reason it'll eventually get to everyone is if you're going to change the rules constantly, then everyone is going to get Me Too'd or Black Lives Mattered eventually because we're just going to find a picture of the guy who ran Bon Appetit magazine in beige face from 17 years ago, and then he's going to be shit canned. Like everyone eventually will catch up to everybody.
Well, look at poor Ellen DeGeneres, the nicest woman in America.
Sweet, she's an angel.
And she got canceled just because she fired her production company during the pandemic.
She's a dear. Well, first off, I don't know her personally, but I've seen her dance, and that has convinced me. Joy. What it is. It's an expression of unbridled joy, and they can't contain herself. And I'm sure her segment producers and others around her probably said, "Do not dance," and she went, "I must.
I must dance.
I gotta dance."
It's how I know I'm alive.
It's the way she connects to the universe and Housewives at the same time.
Yes.
And and I worked for her for a couple years, and I can tell you, just a wonderful person.
The best, right?
The best.
I've been saying that from afar.
Yeah.
But you actually worked with her.
Up close and personal, and the joy. She danced in the hallways. It wasn't just on the show. Wow. Yeah. If she saw somebody was down, like a receptionist, she'd go over to that desk and she would dance.
Office door always open,
always open,
or pulled the pins on the hinges and physically removed the door.
Remove the door and put a pass through window. So if you just needed a quick hit of Ellen, you could get that.
I've been a guest on the show a few times. I felt the segment producers. I've never seen people more comfortable, at ease. Relaxed. Some would come in and I'd say, I'm going to talk about my family vacation. And they go, or not.
Yeah.
Whatever, that's up to you. And they'd walk out.
And it was also tears of joy. I saw a lot of employees crying. And it's tears of joy.
I'll tell you, and by the way, don't sleep on the French dip. They had a carving station. I don't know if it was, a craft service. I don't know if it's this the day I was there. It was a Thursday, I assume. But they do a French dip. They have a carving station.
Thinly sliced.
Au jus.
Right.
Out of this world.
Girl Scout cookies year round, not just the spring. She finds Because it's in other countries, Girl Scout season is different times.
I heard her talking to an intern. First off, I had learned there were 4 new interns that day. She called them all by name. And I was like, you took the time to remember everyone's name,
right?
And welcome them onto the set. It was such it felt safe.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would ever leave.
If you're a guest on the show, she goes and introduces you to the interns when you're a guest.
Yeah, why would you ever leave the warmth of that ingratiating hug?
Do you know where I went from writing on that show? I went from writing on that show to the following week I wrote on The Man Show. It was the biggest 180 in show business history.
Yeah, neck brace.
Really?
Yeah, I wrote after you guys left. I wrote for Rogan and Stanhope.
I was going to say, we had, we'd have guys like Jeff Ross and guys that kind of float in and float out and ride it home and stuff like that. I didn't know. Did we employ? All right, let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
Last but not least, J.B. Weld, man. I've been telling everyone, get out into that garage and get a project going. It'll make you sane. Big or small repairs, home or garage. Ordinary household glue, well, it's got the word ordinary in it. You need something strong. You need something better. And there is a better choice, J.B. Weld. They're a proud sponsor. And they're great. I know the owner. I was at SEMA, the big auto show in Vegas. I was walking around, and I walked into the J.B. Weld booth, and I struck up a conversation. And I've been into this stuff for years because in the automotive world, we use it a lot. But now they do everything. They do the quick dry stuff and the crazy glue style stuff, and they do the two-part epoxies, wood, metal, plastic, whatever. JB Weld it. It's available at jbweld.com, Home Depot, Lowe's, AutoZone, Vance Auto Parts, O'Reilly, Walmart, Amazon, Michaels, and more. JB Weld. All right, let's see. I'm heading out to Zany's. Might be a couple tickets left for that. We're doing a book signing at, I think, 4:30 or 5 o'clock. I got two different numbers.
Let's do 4:30. I think that's safe to say now.
Over at Zany's, we're getting our first batch of books over there. So come on out and say hi. Also, FitzDog, Sunday Papers with Gibby. Fitzy and Gibby.
Tackling the news stories of the week in a funny way. Goes out on Sundays.
Available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And, of course, FitzDog Radio as well. And YouTube channel, Greg Fitzsimmons. And go to his website, fitzdog.com, and look for some of those dates coming out. Good sports coming up next. Till next time, this is Adam Carolla for, Shelley, Shelley Luther and FitzDog and Gina and Bald saying mahalo.